Welcome to tutorial 20, and this is a little segment about Jean Michel Jarre's Oxygene and how to create some of the sounds from that. What we'll be doing is, you can hear the little bit in the background there, but I'll be going into each individual sound and showing you how to create that on the Studiologic. The first sound that we're going to recreate is what I've called the Oxygene pad, which is basically a noise kind of setting. So I've started out with our original initial setting. I'm going to take out each oscillator but leave in some noise, and I don't want pink noise, I want white noise. So that's white noise there. I'm going to also put a little bit of a pad sound in there with oscillator 1 on a sawtooth waveform, oscillator 2 on a sawtooth waveform, 16 foot both of these, and oscillator 3 on a sawtooth waveform, 16 foot. Okay, I've balanced these up so that we can create our original sound there. Also, I need to detune some of the oscillators a little bit to provide a warmth to the sound. So -9 there, +9 there. And then we're going to go across to the filter section. Now, in order for some of the higher frequencies to come through a little bit better, we're going to use a 12 dB cutoff on the filter. And I'll just play the chord and reduce that to 75. The amplitude amplifier envelope, I need a bit of a fade into the sound, attack 63, so it's going to fade in but also fade out as well, release 87. There we are. And one of the essential elements to the whole sound is the phaser. So I can, in effect number 1, I can select either chorus, phaser or flanger. I'm going to go back to the phaser, set the rate there as 12, which is quite slow. And the depth is already at 50. So that's our first pad sound. Then on to the riff sound. Now we're going to do the riff, which is a kind of a repeated figure based on the bass notes. And instead of going back to the initial setting each time, I'm just going to use the setting that we've got on the riff there from the pad. Okay, so we don't need the noise, we don't need oscillator 3, we don't need oscillator 2, but oscillator 1 is on a 16-foot sawtooth waveform. We're going to just move to the other section of the keyboard now and fine-tune the filter. So about 84 there. And in the filter envelope, attack time is 0, decay time 50. Which is kind of the initial setting. Amount of that we'll need +8. And we're also going to make sure that the amplifier envelope, attack time is 0, release time 0. And we also need to set up a delay which is going to go along with our 120 beats a minute. Okay, so effect number 2, don't need reverb, we need delay. And this is going to be time of 92. There we are. And you can hear that repeating. Level 64. So it's about there already. And that's the part that you'll hear on the track. Now we're going to do the bass sound, and it's a plain old bass sound, and it's a classic combination of oscillator 2 on a sawtooth waveform and oscillator 1 on a square waveform, but oscillator 1 is at 32-foot pitch. There we are. I'm just going to get rid of the delay a second just so that we can concentrate on the bass sound there. So we've got oscillator 1 32-foot square, oscillator 2 16-foot sawtooth. Make sure that the detune is all the way to 0. We're going to move on to the filter section now. and we're going to use cutoff frequency 65. There we are. Attack time 0. Decay time is already set to 50, but the envelope amount is going to be just a small amount now, 6, and that's going to give us our bass sound, which you'll hear in the track. Okay, the Oxygene tune is a very kind of sawtooth based brassy sound, so I'm going to make sure that oscillator 1, 2 and 3 is in there, full volume. Oscillator 1, 16 foot, 16 foot oscillator 2, 16 foot oscillator 3, and we need these to be on our sawtooth waveform. There we are, sawtooth, sawtooth. A little bit of detune on these, -3 there, +10 here. Now that's given us a kind of a percussive sound, but that's where we want to alter the filter section to accommodate. So we need a cutoff frequency of 80. There we are. We also need a key track amount of 86. That brightens the sound up as we get to the top of the keyboard. 86, there we are. The attack time of the filter envelope is 0, decay 50. Now you might think that this is going to give us a percussive effect, but it is in actual fact if we have a positive amount of filter envelope applied to the filter, but we're going to use a negative amount. That's 16 there. We're going to alter the amplifier envelope. Attack time 42 gives us a fade in, and release time 64. So we're pretty much there, apart from a little bit of delay which will sync to the track. So the delay time again is 92. There we are. Level 36. We have to be careful how much of this we introduce. So here's the sound. And now I'll play that along with the track. Now when we've added all those sounds together, the pad sound, the bass, the riff, I'm going to put the tune on in a second. We've also added a string sound which we've done on previous tutorials, just a couple of those ago, and a snare sound which we've done on previous tutorials, so that'll provide the whole of the backing track. And now I shall play along to the track.